سبيل الدموع سبيل
This is a fun topic altogether where we talk about pricing and what should be the price and all those cool things. And in this particular video, we are going to dive into three insider hacks that I personally use for pricing my online courses and the thought process that I have whenever I am pricing a specific product or multiple levels of however that is. Now that brings us, thank you so much for joining in this particular video. We're just going to dive into three different areas on how can we price, why should we price it, what should be our thought process when we are pricing the product. Now because this is going to be a common question that you're going to get when you are creating a course, creating a service, having a one-to-ones, because you want to make money and you need to know what you have to charge. And in this particular video you're going to get a clear structure of what should I charge, how should I charge, and whom should I charge to. That brings us to the first point, is you always need to think about your audience, your members. Like if I'm going to pitch a specific price to a specific audience, a specific member, for example, I am teaching students accounts. Got it? For example, that is my audience. I cannot be charging 5,000 rupees for a product to them. Reason number one, you need to know their affordability. That's the point number one. So we need to know who is the decision maker, how much money they are making, how much pocket money do they have, what financial status of the status that they are being, because you cannot be, because they are not decision makers. Their parents are decision makers, their guardians are decision makers, plus kids don't want to spend money on anything other than entertainment. So they might think a lot, they might start thinking so much, it might be easier for them to go out, hang out with friends and spend like 5,000 rupees on a meal, on a dinner, on movies, on popcorns, on clothes and on gadgets and stuff like that, but not courses. Even though if they are not the decision makers, that could be them. I'm not kind of stereotypical kids, but then you getting my point, right? Now, when we move on to mothers in general or housewives in general, like can we shift that particular gear? Let's take a different example on mothers. Let's take an example who is probably from 25 to 30 years old, and you are coaching them, teaching them calligraphy. If dance is going to be their hobby that they want to learn, they're going to give money. You know why? Because they started making money. They are in unemployment. They are making good, handsome income based on what they are making. And you also need to see what type of work they are doing. For example, if they just graduated from PGs and stuff like that, they might not be getting a great salary to spend 5,000 rupees on a hobby they want to learn, because now they've got so many of responsibilities. Now already they are like 23, 24, 25, 26. They've got like so many responsibilities to fulfill, so many things to do in their own lives, and they've got like priorities. Calligraphy couldn't be the priority. Probably it could be, but not the priority in my perspective. So you need to always, whenever you're pricing, if I'm going to pitch this particular product to you, are you going to make the purchase? Are you decision makers? Do you have that financial stability in a way so that if I pitch you this, you're going to give me money? I'll share you a small little example. When I made my first pitch to a specific audience, there were 4 members. All 4 of them rippled because that particular amount seemed too much to them. I thought it's great for them, but then they just backed out. 2 days later, what I did, I reduced the price. I kind of went through the thought process, and why didn't they? Because we have a bond, we have a credibility already established. I know what I'm doing. They know that I'm teaching them well, getting them results, stuff like that. But then when I made that first pitch, they backed out because that money was too much for them. Then when I re-pitched them with a revised price point, I got my first income in like an hour. It's like I pitched them, the money was in the bank account. I was like, great. Being an introvert, I want to test things out. The same amount I pitched to a different group, a different mastermind altogether. The first amount that I pitched, which I had to take 2 steps back and pitch a different amount, which was a failed amount. I took that amount, XYZ, and pitched this group, and they paid me. That brought me to this particular topic. It's like you need to know exactly who your audience is you're going to talk. Okay, 25 to 30 is a different category. 35 to 40 is a very different category. 45 to 50, different category. They've got different responsibilities, different priorities. Probably the decision makers, probably not the decision makers. Probably they are not making that amount of money. Probably the job they are in, maybe that job may not be paying them great. Could be they might be business owners. If they are into startups, they might not start a hobby. Like they cannot invest in a business. They cannot invest in a hobby because they are already in debt, already in loans, whatever they want to start to. You need to know their affordability. Point number one. Point number two is very important. Is you should know your profits. If I am pitching you XYZ and that is here and my profits are here. For example, I'll give you a small little example. If you are experienced, you know what you're talking about, you are getting people results. Okay. You cannot be pitching your product or your one-to-one session for an hour or 30 minutes. This is just an example. This can differ with the audience and the experience that you've got. Just for an example, say you cannot be charging them less than 2,000 rupees, because if you go below 2,000 rupees, again based on your credibility, your experience, based on the bond that you already have, if you charge something less than that, what is going to happen is, for example, if you charge like 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 1,200 rupees, 1,500 rupees, that money is going to come to you and just going to go away. That is not making you any profits. When I'm talking about profits, you need to know that the time you have invested in, the expertise that you have got, the efforts that you have put in, because you have created yourself over a period of time in entrepreneurship. Like you have been through that struggle, you have been through the challenges, now you need money. So whenever you're pitching a product, you always have to think you should be on the other side of the fence. Even if it's like 1% of profits, great. Whenever you're giving members choices to make, for example, I have done this so many times and I still continue to do this. If I'm pitching something, I give them 3 options. Option number 1 is 2,000, 3,000 or 4,000. For example, when I'm giving these options, I'm always first, I'm considering myself. Second, I know their affordability. Based on that, I can craft those 3 figures in a so strategic way that even if they're taking the least amount of money, I myself am in profits. So when I'm in profits, no matter what number they choose, it's just going to benefit me. One. Second, I am not on the other side of the fence. Like if for example, if I give them like 500,000 or 1,500, for example, if they're choosing 500 rupees, that's already a loss for me. It's like, what will I do with 500 rupees? Doesn't make sense. That way, you need to have a balance of 2 things here. The point number 1, affordability. Point number 2, their profits. Once you know this, it will be very easy for you to start thinking and crafting your own price points. The third point, which is not really relevant here, but then I kind of kept it and also mentioned a point over here. It's like it's not relevant anyway, but you need to know the market price. Okay, because now you know their affordability, you know the price. And when you go outside and see what the market what market is charging for that particular course or that particular product or that particular one-to-one session or that particular mastermind, you gain perspective. Okay, if that person is charging that much, if he's a newbie, then I can charge slightly higher than that. Probably I might charge lesser than that and go volume based. Instead of just talking to one person, I'll talk to 4 people, 5 people for that small amount, so that will generate more profits to me. That is, I'll always stay on the profit side even though I'm charging less. So you need to be knowing, okay, what is the market rate going on for that specific service or the course, and affordability plus your profits. 3 points: affordability, profits, and market price. That brings us to the conclusion of this particular video. Thank you so much for making this video, me and this topic, a part of your day. Go out there, make profits. Don't burden people up, don't burden yourself up, because if you don't have this sort of a balance, either you are going to go under pressure or they are going to go under pressure. We don't want either of it. Please strategically test things out, see what works, see what doesn't work, and more importantly, see why it is working and why is it not working. Now, based on that statistics, you can judge pretty easily on. You'll be more finer and clear in a manner of judging what's working and what's not working. So when you pitch something, stand by it. That being said, thank you so much, and I'm going to see you in another video.
فبالله كم تستطب القروح ويبرأ جروح الكسير الجريح